This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network, now in its 8th year of talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey, this is Alex. How are you? This is the Ramble. We go until midnight tonight. Hello, everybody. There is Steve Kravitz for the second time because I was recording this and all of a sudden I realized all we had was my GabNet logo on screen.
Right.
And I was going, oh, God, did I do that? Did I do that? I hate
Well,
myself.
nobody else to blame.
Well, you know what? It's just that I take these goddamn pills.
What pills?
They're called pregabalin, and it's for my neuropathy.
Right, I take that.
And you take that too. But you don't have to go through stuff where you have to do this kind of process.
No.
All right?
No, not at all.
So everything's got to be in the right place at the right time and so on. And I'm just a little loopy. Do you know? Does it make you loopy at all?
No, not at all. I'm born loopy.
Oh, you're born loopy. Okay. So I then suddenly realized after interviewing him for 10 minutes that, you know, I haven't been recording it. So I'm sorry.
This is not the first time this has happened with us.
This is about the second time.
Yeah.
It's because of the way things are set up. Anyway, I probably should just do them like I always do them, and then it will seem natural to me, you know. Anything right now in my life, anything that changes, any process that changes,
Right.
causes me a series of problems. Like I used to do all my Zoom shows over on my other machine here, and then it stopped doing Zoom, so I start doing it on this machine. And when I do shows on this machine, it takes me forever to figure out where everything is after the show is over. I mean, it's you know, so I should give up, shouldn't I? It's time for me to pack it up and go home. Wait a minute.
No, it's not time. It's not time yet.
Wait a minute. I am home. See?
That's right.
That isn't even real. So we were talking. We had a nice discussion going on how much fun earthquakes were.
Well, for you they were fun.
Well, you know why it was fun for me? Because I grew up with them. You didn't.
Right.
You
No.
know, you come out to California, you hit your first earthquake, and you're panicking. You got little spots in your pants. You know. But yet, if I said, "Oh my God, this is my first snowstorm here in New York. How do I negotiate this?" You would go, "Easy peasy. I'm from Massachusetts. Right. I know how to handle snowstorms."
Right. Right.
So, I mean, it's all where you were born, where you live, what the climatological screw-ups and so on were. And you're, you know. So I am just so happy that I grew up in California and I could enjoy what was the most wonderful thing in the world, which were, yes, earthquakes. Earthquakes. You know, with earthquakes in California, if you're from California, the next day after the earthquake, what's everybody talking about? Did you feel it last night?
Right.
You know, like, have you ever, when you were in California, did you ever sleep through an earthquake?
No.
I did. Yeah. You're just used to that. If it isn't above a certain, you know, Richter scale or whatever, you don't wake up. But,
well, there was one that hit when I lived in Los Angeles. There was one that hit. And it was a funny thing. Everybody I know who was in bed with their girlfriends or wives or whatever, we all rolled on top of them to shield them from whatever was going to fall.
Oh, really?
And none of us, we all did it automatically, like it was a primal thing.
Well, the night after the Loma Prieta, which was the big one that decimated the neighborhood where I lived, it was, I always keep talking about it, that I had the greatest sex I ever had. And I asked some kind of psychiatrist or somebody later on, a few years later, I related this story about how we went back to my apartment and we just had this hot monkey sex. Jeez, you know, just amazing. And he said, that's a common story. He said, people, because we're human beings, we have a desire to survive and to survive and make our species survive.
Right.
And our automatic instinct in a thing like that is to have sex. So, so that, the Schwarzman line of whatever genealogy continues, right?
Right.
And so he said that's why it was so good.
So I'll have to move before I get laid again.
Well, either that or I was thinking of starting a tour for couples who want to have the best sex they ever had, and we go to various parts of the world where there are big tragedies happening. And then we all can, like, screw like bunnies,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, but it was that he said it was definitely that. He says it's commonly reported that, and blah blah blah. So what the hell, it's terrific. So I what do you remember about the Loma Prieta quake? You were probably pooping in your pants, right?
No, I was at Candlestick.
Oh, yes, of course they had the World Series out there.
I was at the World Series.
Yeah, and what happened?
And I remember I was sitting with Gonzo.
Mm-hmm. Gonzo was a comic, folks.
Yeah, John Means.
Mm-hmm.
And we were under this overpass. We were underneath this seatings there were seats above us.
Right, it was tiered. Yeah,
it's tufts of cement tufts. Like as the building shook, the of hanging above us, you could see tufts of cement smoke. When Gonzo turned to me and he put his hand on my knee and said, "Well, this is it."
Really?
Yeah. And nobody got hurt. There was 60,000 people at Candlestick and nobody got hurt.
Right. There was a lot of, everything got loose. What's amazing is, when you have a shake like that, stuff that's up above you, like it's tiered, and that's
right.
One of the tiers above you. If those tiers even have so much as a screw loose, that screw could come down and hit you and kill you.
Right.
So it's amazing nobody got hurt.
Right, and we were in the middle of the section, so we couldn't have got out if something was to happen anyway, because we couldn't go left, we couldn't go right.
Right. So you just had to sit there and hope that you were alive after the shake was over.
Right.
That shake was about 45 seconds.
So, yeah, it was a bit scary.
See, folks, in earthquakes, it isn't only the intensity of the shake, like the Richter scale, but it's how long that shake exists.
Right, and also the aftershocks. The aftershocks really get to me.
Well, we'll get to the aftershocks in a moment. That's our after show here. No, but what happens is that, okay, imagine that there's a 5-second shake, okay, and it's it's a 6.1 on the Richter scale, let's just say, all right. But that 5 seconds is 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. But if you go for 45 seconds with that, then you're going to have some real destruction because it's loosening everything and it's just shaking constantly. And the scary part about any earthquake is when's it going to stop?
Right.
Because they always have this height and this, we want to know where the crescendo is.
Right.
And then it comes down the other side and you go, wow.
Right, then it's over. And then the aftershocks really mess with you.
Well, there are hundreds and hundreds of aftershocks, some of which you never felt.
Right.
And then some of which you did. There were some that were like 5 1s on the Richter scale.
Right.
Those kind of scare you because, again, they start up and they go up like this, and you're just waiting for them to come down that other side.
Right. Right, exactly.
And usually the aftershocks are never as heavy as the original. But
no, but it's like, when is this going to stop already?
They always said, where's the safest place to be in an earthquake? Do you ever hear that?
Some place where you can say, what was that?
Well, probably where you can say, gee, the weather's nice here in Brazil. But,
right.
I mean, No, the thing that we keep thinking about. What was I going for? All of a sudden.
The safest place to be.
Oh, the safest place to be. They say is under a door jamb.
Right, that's what they say.
Although I think one person in the Loma Prieta got killed standing in a door jamb. So that's bullshit. You know?
Right.
Absolute pucky. I just came up with a new word. An absolute pucky. Pucky. I like that. I'm going to keep using that. But it's really, you know, it's really scary. It's scary because you don't know when it's going to end, you know,
right.
and also because you also went through the first one a day earlier or something like that. You're just waiting for that whole thing to happen again.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why the aftershocks are so scary.
But they were pretty minor, though. Many of them that you would feel.
Yeah, many of them. But you know, some of them, like you said, were like 5.3, 5.4 on the Richter scale, and that shakes you up.
If you can imagine this, folks, and you should imagine it, you have gone through a major earthquake, and now there are all these little aftershocks, and they're happening for days, weeks afterwards. You know, some of them you don't even feel; others you do.
Right.
To live with that after an earthquake is very damaging to the mind.
Oh, no kidding.
You know, because when it starts up, you go, when's the next one?
Right.
You know.
Right.
And you don't want a next one.
Right.
Other thing I remembered, and this is amazing. We woke up the next morning in my bedroom in the marina, and all of a sudden there were I heard a lot of people outside. Suddenly, everybody from around the Bay Area was coming into the marina to see the damage.
Right.
They finally had to get cops to get everybody out of the area, saying, "Come on, what are you doing coming down here? These buildings are falling down. You could get killed. Get out of here." You know. But at that point, it was like a street fair out there. You know, and I got up and I looked out, and here are all these people. And then the other thing that just absolutely made me gasp, it was the most beautiful morning I had ever seen in San Francisco. The weather,
is that right?
The weather was perfect. And I asked somebody what happened during the 1906 earthquake, which was the one that destroyed. Actually, the earthquake didn't destroy San Francisco. The fire did.
The fire did.
Yeah, because the fire mains were all fucked up, and
Right.
And they said that the day after that earthquake, they said the same thing. It was just a gloriously beautiful day. I don't know why that happens.
I don't remember that.
I can't see how that would have anything to do with earthquakes. Maybe it's just that you survived something and, oh, it's glorious,
Right. Man, probably. That's probably it, because you survived it.
And my girlfriend, who I thought would be in something like this, I figured she would be the person of great strength. Oh, let's do this.
The rock.
And let's do and I would be the one going, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here.
Right.
No, I was the guy who was like a rock. I was just, we have to do this. And now we have to go across the bridge and go see my business manager and get out of here. Maybe some more earthquakes. We don't want to be in the building if it shakes and falls. And she's panicking all the way. And I'm just going, oh, well, don't worry. We'll get across the bridge, She says, but suppose there's another earthquake while we're on the bridge. I said, it only takes a minute and a half to drive across the bridge.
Right.
Okay. I knew that because I had crossed that bridge I don't know how many times, right?
Right.
And we got across the bridge when we got to Marin County. But, I mean, it was... And then we went back to the place, and that's when we had what I call our rubble fuck. So... Which is the most glorious thing you can do, folks. I'm going to start Bennett tours. We're going to go to places that just had a big earthquake or something like that, and you can then go have sex there.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's going to be a great tour. It's going to be a great tour.
Yeah.
Oh,
let's go see,
what?
Let's go see the rubble.
Yeah. Of course,
and then fuck like bunnies.
do you ever see this, like you see on television someplace like in Afghanistan got hit with an earthquake and all this
Right.
all this rubble and so on, and you say to yourself, well, why didn't they build those houses better? You know, because the reason we didn't have more damage in San Francisco is because all these buildings were built after the first earthquake.
Right.
The one in 1906, first earthquake, the largest earthquake, 1906. And so they were built to kind of stand. Now they've been retrofitted on what they call rolling foundations. You aware what rolling foundations are?
Yeah.
They build
Yeah, I know what that
literally
is.
the foundations are on kind of like wheels,
Right.
so that if there's an earthquake, it just goes back and forth with the earthquake. The problem is if you have something rigidly anchored to the ground, it doesn't have the ability to sway. And you need that.
Right.
If you have that ability to sway, you'd be okay. So that's everything you want to know about earthquakes. What do you get out there in Connecticut, in Massachusetts? Oh boy, I'm out of it. Massachusetts? What do you get out there?
We get blizzards.
Blizzards, but you know how to deal with blizzards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay inside.
Yeah, but you don't know, and of course with earthquakes, it's get outside.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, I think if I hit a blizzard, I think I would panic. Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm not used to them. I'm not used to snow. In fact, this year I'm not used to snow at all. The last couple of years we haven't had any here in New York.
Right. Right. Let's hope we don't have any more this year.
Yeah. Well, what I like about a good snowstorm is right after it drops.
Right.
And it's kind of like everything's soundproof. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you mean.
I could shout, "Hey, Steve," and it wouldn't get past my mouth.
Right.
It's
right.
It's like
it's like absorbing acoustics.
Yeah, yeah, and it also does one other thing. It takes a city like New York, right, and it turns it into a winter wonderland. It turns
That's
into
right.
Everything that was ugly about New York is no longer ugly.
No.
Until, of course, the next day, when everybody's been driving over it, and the sun,
Right. The snow is now black.
it's now gray, actually, or black in some areas, and there are puddles, and then it becomes slushy. Then it becomes
Right.
so ugly you don't even want to go out.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
But you don't have to shovel.
No,
I have to shovel the snow.
really.
Yeah.
Oh,
Who else is gonna do it?
you're required to by law, aren't you?
Right. Right. And they won't deliver the mail if you don't shovel.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're living in a house, so you have to shovel the path
The
up
driveway.
to the driveway. Wow.
And then the walkway.
God, watch out for yourself because more people have heart attacks shoveling snow.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, they do. My uncle died shoveling snow.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. He had a heart attack.
I take a lot of breaks.
Huh? You take a lot of breaks?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how long does it take you to do the whole driveway? See,
Couple 3 hours.
Yeah, I don't know these things. I wouldn't even know how to use a snow shovel. Okay.
Yes, you would.
Well, I mean, I think I'd learn fast, but I've never.
Yeah, you're not an idiot. Come on.
I never had to use a snow shovel. The only thing I used to have when I lived in snow areas, like I lived in Reno, is the thing that scrapes the ice off your windshield.
Right.
That thing.
I had to do that this morning.
Really? Was that
Yeah.
was that cold up there?
Yeah. In the morning.
Wow.
Don't forget I have to be to work at 6 a.m.
Oh yes. Yes.
So I've been up since 4:30.
Son of a bitch. I've got to say, that has got to be rough for you. Because,
Yeah, no kidding.
Because when did you usually work?
Nights.
Nights. Sometimes the last show goes on at midnight, right?
Right. You get home at 2. You finish working at
Yeah,
2.
Yeah.
You get home at 3.
Yeah. Who goes to work at 5 in the morning? Only people who have legitimate jobs. Okay.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And that's got to be a bit of a shock to you, a shock to your system.
Sure.
I mean, even when you weren't working comedy, you're probably staying up till 2 in the morning or something like that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't go to sleep before 2 o'clock in the morning. You know, and when I had to do a morning show, how out of character was that for me?
Well, how about us, the comics? We'd be working all night. We'd do this show in the morning.
Sometimes you wouldn't even go to sleep. You'd just come down to the show.
Yeah, there were those times.
There were those times, yeah.
There were substances involved, though.
You know something? It's funny, but I never stopped to think about it back then. Hey, all these guys are coming in to do the show, and they were up till,
Right, 3, 4 in the morning.
3 or 4 in the morning because they didn't get off work till 2. So, I mean, I never.
One time I was doing your show, and I had to borrow somebody's car, and it was an automatic, and mine was a stick. So I was used to a stick, right?
Yeah.
And as I'm driving to do your show, and I almost put myself through the windshield because I slammed on the brake thinking it was the clutch.
Oh, God.
I almost went through the windshield.
Oh, boy. And what people would do to do my show. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. No, I never stopped to think about that. But what I used to do is I used to catch a nap in the afternoon after the show. I'd catch a nap.
Right?
I'd sleep from 1 to 3, I think it was, in the afternoon. And that way I didn't have to get to bed till 11 at night in order to get about 6 hours sleep and then drive to the show.
Right.
So that was how I did that. And so I kind of was able to survive with the morning clock on, But the minute I didn't have a show any longer, they'd let me go or whatever, it wasn't working.
Right.
I didn't go to sleep till 2 in the morning. It was just, I went right back to my old schedule, So
I wonder if I would go, although when I have a day off, I tend to sleep in.
When you have a day off?
Yeah, I tend to sleep in.
Wow. That's amazing. In other words, if tonight you didn't have to go to work tomorrow, let's say, you wouldn't go to sleep till midnight, 1 o'clock, something like that.
No. I'd probably still go to sleep around 10.
Yeah.
But I'd sleep until 10.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, really?
Yeah, I'd sleep. I'd crash out for the day.
Are you sleeping longer hours these days?
No.
I am. I'm like, I always used to have 8 hours sleep. Used to have 8 hours. Now it's coming out to 9 hours.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And you sleep through the night?
Yeah, I think I'm practicing for death is what I think is happening.
Well, that's what sleep is.
Huh?
It's a temporary death.
Yeah, well, eventually when you die, it's you just sleep in forever.
Right.
Yeah. That's got to be restful. But I don't want to get into that. I've been dealing with death lately, so
Have you? Oh yeah, you had that friend that passed away.
Yeah. It's affected me worse than I thought it would. So I mean,
you never know how it's going to hit you.
Yeah, I mean, it's very strange. Very strange.
When my mom passed away, I didn't cry, and I cried a year and a half later.
Same thing with my father. I didn't cry when my father died, but a year later,
Right.
I said, I wonder what my father thinks about this. And I was going for the phone and realized my father's dead. And then I broke up.
Right.
And I broke up. Yeah, that's the way it happens. But you know what happened? Was your mother ill for a while?
Yes.
Well, you see, you were prepared for it. For instance, with my friend Shecky, I wasn't prepared for it because who thinks at 67 he's going to drop dead?
Right.
I mean, it just comes out of a clear blue sky, and this is somebody you talk to once a week.
Right. I'm 67.
You're 67. Okay. Well, please, I don't want to lose you. Okay.
No, I'm not going anywhere.
And I'd say now you're my best friend because I have no others now that my best friend is gone. But I don't want you to be my best friend because all my best friends die.
Well, I don't want to die.
Yeah, so don't be my best friend, okay?
Okay,
It's a good
you got a
reason
deal.
not to be. Well, it looks like we're kind of running out of time here.
Is that right?
Sorry I wasted your time for 15 minutes earlier. But,
That's all right.
But
I'm just going to go take a nap.
really, you're tired?
Oh, yeah, I've been up since 5.
Oh yeah, you worked at the which one is
Lowe's.
that? Lowe's. Yeah, because I have a friend who works at Home Depot, and then you work at Lowe's. So
Right.
yeah. Hey, listen, good talking to you, my friend, and we'll see.
Always good talking to you.
Can we do this again next week?
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Steve Kravitz. Thanks, Steve.
Bye, folks.
This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network, now in its 8th year of talk like you've never heard it before.
Well, hello there, folks. How are you? Good to see you again. We're here because we're here because we're here because we're here. Okay. Anyway, let me see here. I guess we have one person here. Thursday's a strange night. We never can quite figure out whether people are going to call or not. And it's the one night that I'm beginning to think maybe I should not do a show because it's like, it's just weird. We don't get. I'm trying to make my picture nice there. Yeah, because people don't call on Thursday, and we have no idea why. First of all, let me go get this here, participants, and let me bring in the only person that's here tonight, and it's Alan. Okay, and here he comes. I think here he comes. There he is.
Hey, Alex. Last Thursday, everybody came late. You had the most people in weeks.
On a Thursday?
Last Thursday.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well,
I think a lot of people are going to want to call in because Trump got indicted a couple hours ago.
Yeah. That he did.
They're going to want to call in and everybody bring out the champagne.
Yeah, I don't know. I really have my doubts as to what this is going to become, what's going to happen of this. I think the other charges against him are going to have a little more weight, a lot more weight, seriousness, and so on. This is, I don't know. Some people think that they're not going to get a conviction on this one.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
But the other stuff, yeah.
Although, it isn't just that Trump blames the DA, but it was the grand jury, 23 people. They needed a majority. They got at least 12 that voted to indict. So,
out of how many?
Out of 23 people, they got at least 12 because they need, more than 50%.
Oh, so yeah, but it could have been all of them. We don't know. We don't know.
Right.
We don't know.
That's right. We don't know.
But all we needed was 50%.
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, Trump's going off in the news, 20 minutes of rambling about how the Democrats and Biden are coming after him and he didn't do anything wrong and all this other stuff. And they've been trying to get him since before he was president. And
well, he's claiming that they want to get him because he's running for president again. And the fact of the matter is the only reason he announced so early was to avoid charges.
Yes, I truly believe
what he
that.
perceived to be a way of avoiding charges.
I believe that too.
Yeah. Listen, he may have well committed a crime here. It probably, at the very least, it's a misdemeanor. Okay.
I think they're going to charge him with a felony.
You think so?
Yeah, for campaign finance stuff. It might be a little hard to prove, but their star witness Cohen is not exactly the most credible witness, so they've got to have more than just him.
Well, is he not a credible witness? Just because he did Trump's bidding, and that's what he wound up in jail for.
Right.
He didn't wind up in jail for something he did for himself.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
So chances are very good that he would be far more believable in court now than he would have been if he was still in a Trump minion.
Yep.
You know. But Weisselberg's willing to testify against him. You know, all these people, where he was really stupid is he expected loyalty from people, but he didn't give them any loyalty back.
Yep.
And so when the crap hit the fan, what did he do about it? Nothing. He didn't protect these people. He didn't try to defend these people. And it was horrible. It was just horrible. So if people are now testifying against him, it's because he had no loyalty towards them. So that's...
And Trump trying to get money already from everybody campaigning.
Yep.
And please donate for the witch hunt.
Well, no, but your donations aren't going to go towards the campaign. They're going to go towards lawyers' fees.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Which, let's face it, folks. Let me talk to all you stupid MAGA people out there for a second. Here's a guy who wants your money. Wants your money now because we have to fight this thing. Didn't I hear that he was a billionaire?
Yeah.
Why should you be sending him money? Shouldn't he be sending you money? You know.
That's Phil.
Ask Phil.
Phil knows
yeah, well, Phil will defend this. He'll take that whole line, you know, that it's nobody's out to get Trump. What they are is they're out to get justice.
Yep.
You know, and they're not trying to, get Trump. They just want to get justice, and they want to have this thing looked at. It was terrible what he did, because he took this to begin with. There was nothing wrong with him paying hush money to Stormy Daniels. But to then disguise that hush money as a campaign contribution or campaign cost is what is the big thing that's in question here. You know,
that's
paying her not to keep her mouth shut. Whoever told a woman in a porno film to keep their mouth shut? I never heard of that before, but
he calls her horseface too. I don't know why he says that.
No.
He's got a name for everybody.
I would call her MAGA chest. Yeah, I mean, he had to come. He calls her horse face. Yeah, it wasn't calling her horse face when he was getting a blowjob from her. You know,
maybe he was saying whore's face.
Maybe
whore's face. That's right.
No, it was in print. It was horse face. Yeah. So I mean, we're all delighted to see that this happened. But it isn't the thing that's going to get him. What's going to get him are the documents.
Yep.
And I do think January 6th is going to get him too.
I think so too.
And Georgia has a good case.
For more votes. They're asking for more votes.
Yeah. Georgia has a pretty good case.
Yeah.
You know. So I mean, those are the ones to look out for. I think the one thing that I like about this happening, and I said it before, is this emboldens all the other cases. In other words, maybe they won't be as lax to go ahead then now and be the next person who prosecutes.
Well, the federal judge is in the January 6th and the documents is ordering Pence and Trump's lawyer to testify. And if they don't testify, they will arrest them.
Well, they of course they'll arrest them. And the good reason to arrest them is because they're supposed to show up if they're, subpoenaed.
Now they have to testify. But
Trump is sending his lawyers in to try and make it so they can't appear. Now, let me say this again to all you Trump people, you MAGA people. Why is he suddenly paying the legal expenses for all these people not to testify? If he doesn't have anything to hide, why doesn't he just let them testify? You know, what's wrong with Pence testifying and saying what went on the days before the January 6th? What's wrong with having Mark Meadows testify? But why is he hiring lawyers to keep them from testifying? You don't do that unless they've got something that could screw you up. You know?
That's right.
Yeah. So, you know, Yeah. So, I mean, everybody's cheering tonight, you know.
I won't cheer until I see his mugshot or in cuffs.
Well, you're going to see that. He's going to have to come to New York. Well, first of all, they've indicted him, but they haven't put out a thing for his arrest or whatever. Okay? Once they do that, then he has to figure out whether he's going to appear in New York. If he doesn't, then he's going to have to be extradited from Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you think that DeSantis is going to step in the way of New York from bringing Trump to New York? I don't think so.
No.
He already said he wouldn't assist.
He wouldn't assist?
Right.
What do you mean, wouldn't stop him from being...
No, he wouldn't
extradited?
help them try to extradite him.
Well, he wouldn't help them, but he wouldn't stop them. Who knows?
But he has to approve it somehow. They have to go through him.
Now, I can't figure out, there's something that happened. As you know, DeSantis has been having this pissing match with Disney.
Yeah.
Disney has, for the last how many years that Disney World has been there, has been its own district run by Disney. It was the deal they made with the state of Florida. Hey, we're going to build this up. We want to be able to have control over it. And I think that's right. They spent how many billions of dollars to build Disney World, right? So they had the right to be their own, what can we call it? Their own, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Not city, but
District.
District or dominion or whatever.
mm-hmm.
Because they were also paying the cost for fire departments and all the infrastructure that it takes to take care of an area like that. And they did that, and they built up the whole area too. Universal Studios is now there, and they all got the benefit of a lot of that. And but now DeSantis says no more. I think it was called Reedy Pines or something was the name of the district. And they've done away with it. But the thing is that Disney's done something, and I haven't been able to figure this one out completely, but they came up with a deal to make sure that DeSantis and his people couldn't get dominion over Disney World. Because what they've done is make it impossible for them to use any of the Disney names or Disney products in there. And so consequently, I don't know exactly what it is, but they said that what they've done is they've made it so that Florida can't take the thing over because they own the rights to names. And it was very confusing to me. But the bottom line was, it is into perpetuity as long as King Charles and his relatives, have you heard this? And his relatives are still alive. So that means that if let's say Charles dies, but he dies, but then that isn't the last vestige of the family. I don't know why they chose that as the perpetuity, but they did. It's very strange. I read it, and I'm a little muddled in my brain lately. But in spite of the muddled brain, it was still very hard to understand what they had done. But they had pulled something off to screw over DeSantis and his people. So we'll see what happens. Hello, Phil.
We said his name 3 times, I think.
I saw that you had a skeleton crew, and it's a big news night.
So you took pity on us.
Absolutely,
Now that you're here, I can leave. Bye.
Yeah, it was a tough day for Trump.
We saw you got your bazooka in the background there.
Oh, which one is that?
I don't know. Is it you before you put up your screen there? It was all your malicious stuff.
Yeah, we saw all your junk already. Why you put up the screen now? Too late.
Yeah, too late.
Oh, okay.
Like you're getting ready to go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, hey, Trump's, they're going to hook up Trump. So,
So we'll see you on the news or what?
yeah, there's going to be fighting in the street.
Okay.
Did you get a donation email from him?
I hadn't looked. I shot an event tonight, so it was kind of busy. But a friend of mine is in the quarterfinals for the national CrossFit championship, so I shot his workout.
How many did you get?
Hmm?
How many did you get?
1,850. I was motoring at like 10 shots a second.
Okay.
You know, they're doing pull-ups, they're doing lifts, clean and jerks, things like that, and they're going as heavy and as hard as they can.
Well, you managed to make this conversation boring.
Well, I was talking about clean jerks. I mean, you know, any one of you.
Well,
could.
Trump is anything but a clean jerk.
Well, you know, you're innocent until proven guilty. And I think that Alvin Bragg is using this as because of his hate for Trump. This is purely political. And
Okay, you got the talking points from Fox. Okay.
I watched Fox for about 45 minutes to an hour, and they're all worked up.
What's this? Did you watch Fox tonight? How are they reporting?
Yeah, I watched them right after. I was around.
I was gonna go
30 hard time.
I was gonna go turn over to Fox to see what they were saying and how
It was
they were
entertaining.
parsing it.
The smoke was coming out of my TV. It was pretty funny.
well, I thought most of the Fox people had turned on Trump.
No,
That's what I thought too, but it sure didn't look like it. They had Waters on there, and he was all worked up. And Brett was all worked up, and Perino got on there, and she was all worked up.
What about Tucker Carlson?
I didn't see him. I got tired of it before that.
Okay, now
wait a minute. Tony's trying to say something.
Yeah,
Tony?
this is off topic. Can I say one thing to Kevin? I didn't watch Alex. I was at the Big Apple Comic Con getting some comic books signed.
Everybody
Jesse
wants
Wa-
to drag this thing into the ditch.
No,
Go ahead.
You know why?
What?
You know why? That Jesse Waters' show was taping something for today. Was it on, Kevin?
What?
The comic?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
on.
they were doing it on. Jesse Waters' crew was interviewing the guy who runs the show. I was right there getting autographs.
Yeah, it was on.
It was on. Okay, yeah, that's all. Yeah, right. What the hell is this guy doing? He had all my comic books on. Oh, sorry about that.
Tony.
Yeah.
What are
Oh,
you
that's my
talking
teeth.
about?
I paid $6,000. They're still crooked. I want my money back. No, but
I got
Alex,
his teeth.
here's the problem I have with Trump, Phil. And I got to ask you this, Alex. This is how cheap the man is. Why did he use campaign money to pay her?
How do you know he used campaign money?
Because that's what it sounds like.
Sounds like okay.
Come on, dude. I mean, this is how stingy.
Well, what he
is.
did is he took the 130,000 and said it was a campaign donation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told you that, Phil.
Yeah, which is not considered right to do.
Yeah, that's the taxpayers'
least
money
that's
that
what
they
he-
donated to him, and he's paying people off.
That's what he's accused of doing.
If it's true, yeah.
In the beginning, he had put up 40 million when he was running in 2016, and all the money was coming from him, and he hadn't been reimbursed for any expenses.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we all believe that.
That must have been on his tax return we never saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phil, how do you know that for a fact?
Well, Phil, he
I
was.
saw his
Wait a
tax
minute.
return.
He wasn't just spending his money. He was raising funds to run for president. Initially, I think when he was doing the primaries and so on, yes, it was kind of coming out of his pocket because not
Right.
enough people wanted to give him money to be president. But once he won the nomination, the money came pouring in. He didn't.
I gave
have-
him money.
I gave him money
for the
again.
nomination.
Why you give money to a
He's
billionaire?
got money to burn. I know
How
he's free
stupid!
man.
How
I don't want
stupid
big
are you?
know
Wait a
what?
minute. Hold on a second. How stupid are you to
must
give
have funny
money to a billionaire?
I
Exactly.
gave money to Perot.
That wasn't a bad guy, Pearl, but
Another billionaire.
Right. Sometimes.
He loves
Another
giving
billionaire.
billionaires lots of money. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really, really stupid.
You gotta
Perot
give
was
him
actually
credit. He gives
good.
money to all the losers.
Yeah.
One of the hosts has got to come in.
You know, I mean, you had Trump saying, "Vote for me. I'm a billionaire. I'm good with money," and then he said, "By the way, send me your dollars."
I
You know,
love
I mean,
any deal happen. Wrong.
Hey, Tony,
Yeah.
the first 3 years of Trump, what did you think of him?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, my stock portfolio was flying. It was going
And what
up.
else?
Had nothing to do with him.
No
Right.
wars.
We
You
were
get us involved in any
before he
wars. We're
killed
at
my
the brink
mother.
of
Phil, things were going okay, really.
We're at the brink of nuclear war right now.
no,
We got
I did
inflation
kill my
that's
mom,
through the roof.
though.
We got interest rates that have tripled.
by the way, inflation is pretty well leveled now.
Yeah, leveled.
It's also worldwide. Phil never hears that.
And
part.
how much of that was caused by Trump, and
Most.
by his and
All
by
of it,
by
of
things
course.
that he did while he was in office.
The
And
false
now they've
bubble
come
was
home.
burst.
And now they've come home to roost. Didn't he
Yes.
give millionaires all kinds of money?
Yes.
false
He
bubble
gave
that burst.
everybody all kinds of
No,
money.
he gave the billionaires are the ones who. I didn't see a penny. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't see a penny.
Yeah, well, if any of you guys were honest, I'm sure that you saw plenty because of Trump.
Can
And
anybody?
you know,
agree
you
to
were
that?
paying under $2 a gallon for gas in most of the country.
Again, he doesn't. The
Here-
president doesn't have anything to do with that.
Yeah, he had everything to do with it because his policies allowed
Which
for
policy in
exploration.
particular? Which policy in particular?
Allowing exploration of
No, that had nothing to do with it.
and removing all of these onerous restrictions.
This had nothing to do with it.
That's what you say.
No, what
Okay.
it had to do with was the fact that there were external situations in Saudi Arabia and in Russia, which had caused the gas crisis to exist. We have less of a gas crisis here than they do in a lot of other countries.
Well, we always have, but our gas has now gone up. I mean, you can sit there and any
You're sitting there,
argument.
you're bloviating, Phil. You just
Any
you
argument I make, Alex, you say it has nothing to do with it. I mean, you know, what kind of answer is that? Oh, you got to breathe air. No, that's got nothing to do with
we
it.
could start going through the policies of Trump and some of the things he issued, the dictums he put out that today have come back to roost, causes lots of problems. You know, I mean, it's too much to go into. But I mean, there are a lot of things he did which are now coming home to roost. A lot of problems like the ones you're talking about are not necessarily created by the person who's currently in office, but by the person who was in office.
Yeah, like FDR,
What?
like Franklin Delano
How many
Roosevelt.
years ago was that, Phil?
Well, it was created before Trump was in office.
What?
All of this welfare and stuff like that.
Welfare? Oh, it's welfare.
Yeah,
It got us out of a depression.
we would have gotten out of depression anyway
No,
because we had a
wouldn't.
world war. We had a world war, and the rest of the world had nothing. They were blown apart. They had to buy their stuff from us.
So you say we went to war for money?
Oh yeah, we always go to war for money.
Oh, and you're proud of that.
No, why do you think they fought the Vietnam War?
Phil, you're all over the place. Yes.
Hey, you say they go to war for money. You bet they go to war for money. That's why we're in
Do you
Afghanistan.
notice how, by the
Why
way,
we're
he
in
is
Iran?
like changed the whole subject matter on this
you
program? Wait a
asked
minute.
me.
Hold on a second, Phil. You came on here because we were talking about Trump and about the indictment that looks like it is looming, and you managed to then take everything we were talking about and shift it over to an entirely different area.
I guess I'm good. So, you asked me a question.
You know somebody has his hand up?
Somebody?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I guess he's somebody.
Yes.
So I'm not gonna attack Trump or Biden. What I'm gonna say, Phil, economics 101. Okay, and Tony, the reason the stock market is dropping, okay, is because the Fed is raising interest rates because of inflation's out of control. Not here, but around the world too. So once the Fed stops raising rates, if you don't sell anything, you will make money, or the market will go back up. The other thing is the president has no control over this president that's in office now, or Trump, or any president, over other countries being in recessionary times. We're in recessionary times, close to it, but Trump didn't have anything to do with it, and Biden didn't have anything to do with it. It was better when Trump was in office. That was just coincidence, and he took credit for it. Economics 101, Phil.
And
Yeah.
it could have well
I
been
give
that
him
that the economy was better as a result of processes that went on during the Obama administration.
That's
You
right.
always have to look to the previous administration to see where the faults are and the positives are.
So you're saying that any progress?
Oh,
that
I
was
think
made by Obama is
think
due to
Trump was
Bush?
definitely benefited by the Obama administration and by their
Under
policies.
Obama, we had a GNP that rose like 1% a year, whereas under Trump we had 4%. And higher.
Oh, okay, I agree with you. Trump was wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Trump's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, have a good night.
See, I'll take your figures for granted, Phil, but you're usually wrong. So I should tell everybody that he's usually wrong.
In the case of the economy under Obama, it was
Hey,
not even chugging.
Obama kept this country from going into a depression.
Yep.
Okay, when you had that fallout of the economy,
Come on, Brian.
that didn't happen because of him. It happened because of Bush.
Trump even said that
Yeah,
too.
Bush had some stimulus. He had given about half of it, and Obama used the other half, cash for clunkers and a bunch of
He
money.
bailed out the car though.
And what he did was he bailed out companies that were too big to fail, and maybe they should have.
Yeah, but well, maybe they should have. And then when you want to see what happened to your stocks, and you want to see what would happen to your income, yeah, forget it, Phil. Forget it. Somebody
Even Trump blamed George W. Bush for a lot of the mess.
Probably.
He did.
He got us in.
There's no
everybody.
question about the fact that Obama was handed a mess,
Yep.
absolute mess.
George W. Bush got us into Iraq. And by doing that, he sold a bill of goods to the people, and he said that the war was going to cost a certain amount. Now, I've got a friend that I grew up with, Larry Lindsay. He's a Harvard economist, and he was Bush's senior economic advisor. And he had to resign because he told Bush that the war was actually going to cost 3 times more than what Bush had said it would. And because he went against what Bush said, he and
Again, we're not even talking about the news of the day. You've taken us down into a ditch from which we're having a hard time climbing out of it now.
The man's been indicted.
He hasn't been
Innocent until
convicted
proven
yet.
guilty.
That's right. He hasn't been proven guilty. He hasn't been, anything. He's just been indicted.
Just for grins, by a show of hands, how many people here believe that Trump is guilty?
Can you call it a kangaroo court?
You have to admit
I think even Phil knows he's guilty.
No.
Where's your pouch?
No, it's Trump that calls it a kangaroo court, and then sometimes he calls it a witch hunt.
that's doing the witch hunt.
And it is.
Oh, it is?
Oh yeah.
He didn't do anything wrong.
Nah, he paid for a hooker. What's the
Yeah, but he
difference?
used their money, Phil. He should have just paid it himself, like I told you.
They got to prove that he used that money. How do you?
Okay, let me ask you why
All
he
he got
had.
to do is watch TV. He admitted that he bought time with her.
Why he had
Right.
why he had what's his name
30 some odd
Cohen?
days.
Why had Cohen pay it out of his own pocket? Why did he have him do that? Why didn't he just pay it? But
Well,
no, wait a minute.
because
He
I
had
guess there
Cohen
needed to be
pay it. He
separation
had
because
Cohen
he
pay
was
it,
hiding.
and then he reimbursed Cohen so that
Well, I
it
guess
wouldn't
there had
wouldn't
to be
show up on
separation.
it wouldn't show up on the same tab. So obviously he was doing some chicanery there.
Maybe.
No, not maybe. It's obvious.
Okay, so let's burn him at the stake. No trial.
No, we know for sure that he had had Cohen pay off the $130,000, and then he reimbursed Cohen out of where? Where, Phil?
Cohen
Where,
said-
Phil? Where did he? I'm asking you a question. Where did he reimburse Cohen out of?
His monthly stipend.
No,
Hey,
hey, Phil, I'm asking you a question.
I don't know
Answer.
where, because
Well,
Cohen
can
says
somebody else?
Bennett.
Wait a minute, can somebody answer that question here
He's
for
the
me?
fixer. We know where it came from.
Cohen, I'm sure you do. Cohen said that he was never reimbursed. So if he wasn't reimbursed,
No, I think
Trump-
he did say he was reimbursed, didn't he, guys?
I don't know, but I think
not
people
in his testimony.
know.
Wait a minute,
that
wait a
I
minute,
heard.
wait. Brian, you said yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
The bottom line is they've been doing this for how long? A month, 2 months, 3 months? Grand jury has been behind closed doors trying to figure this out. You don't think that they've done their homework and figured this out? They just willy-nilly come out and said, okay, we're going to indict him.
And by
Is
the
the
way,
grand jury-
you say that Bragg wants to get him. The fact
Yes.
of the matter is that isn't the person who's indicting him. It's 24 people.
Correct.
When
He's
Vance-
the leader of the group.
Previous to Bragg, it was Vance, and Vance said that there was no crime.
No,
and he
no, he
was gonna
didn't say
prosecute.
that. He did not say that, Phil.
No, he didn't.
Would you
And-
care to
and
tell us
also,
exactly what he said, Phil?
If anything, this
Phil,
was a
listen to
crime.
me. Would you care to tell us what he said?
Vance said.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the verbatim.
Oh, well, now.
Oh, okay. Could you
Makes
look it
a
up for
difference.
us?
Yeah.
What he
Well, you can
said
look it up.
was he didn't want to do anything about it because he didn't feel they had enough information yet to indict. That's all he said. He didn't
That's right.
say that he was leaving or that he wasn't going to do it because there was no evidence that Trump did it. He just felt that there was not a strong enough case yet at that point.
Although
No, don't know all those. That's the answer. That's the reason he did
the
it.
only
Phil.
witness that Bragg has is Cohen.
No,
You don't
Cohen,
know that.
attorney.
No, he's
You
got
don't know
Weisselberg.
that.
He's got
The
Weisselberg.
grand jury
He's got the
secret.
guy. He's got the guy from the National Enquirer. He's got a lot of people.
Well,
Has he-
Cohen
he's
was
got-
the one that he was bracing.
It's
all his-
funny that this case may end with the guy who owns the National Enquirer, Pecker, and it started with a Pecker. So you know,
That's his name.
You don't
Yeah,
know.
his name
You
is
don't
Pecker,
know.
yeah.
Now,
because-
you know,
because the grand jury is secret. You don't know what evidence they have.
and you don't either.
I don't. I'll admit it. And so don't jump to conclusions saying that Cohen is the only person they're going by.
That's the news that I heard.
well, that's what you heard. But the fact is, that Cohn isn't the only one that was in there. Weisselberg was in
It's
there.
not just one count. It's 34 counts or 30 counts or something like that.
30. Yeah.
I didn't
Yep.
know Democrats could count that high.
Well, they can count higher.
I think.
See, he always tries to divert discussing it
Hey,
by trying to tell a joke.
is that such a terrible thing?
Yes, when you tell a joke,
No,
it
but your
is.
jokes are.
What if
The panel agrees on Phil's jokes.
All right. Hey, 30 million flies can't be wrong about shit either. Yeah.
Well, I just got demonetized for tonight.
Why? Because you let Phil on?
Yeah. But
I'll get you special dispensation.
it's sad. It's really sad that we had a president that was so corrupt. I mean, he had no love for the democracy. He had no love for what this country represented. That he was ready to become a dictator if he had the chance. He would be a Mussolini
And he's
in
been
our
that way
time.
all
And
his
he's-
life through business.
What?
He's been that way all his life through business. He's cheated
Yeah, but-
everybody in business.
And that's fine. Go cheat those people. But don't cheat the American public when you're president. That is
That's
not
right.
your personal bank book. It is not your personal protection. It is something that you take seriously, and it's been given to you to take care of this country and to guard this country and to safeguard the people who live in it. And he didn't do any of that because all he is just a selfish prick.
On top of it, do it under the
Got
guise
blinders
of loving
on.
America. Let's
But I did pay for Stormy Daniels.
you did? You probably did for that check.
Hope it
That
felt
little
good.
pen they sent you. That was the thank you.
Didn't you tell me that you sent Trump $10 towards the Stormy Daniels fund?
Actually, he could spend it any way he wanted, but if this is the case, then Stormy ought to give me a little bit.
Stormy should give you a little bit.
Thank you for. This is one of our top.
Well, Stormy is you act like Stormy is a prostitute, and she
took 130,000 to keep her mouth shut.
well, you don't pay a prostitute to keep their mouth shut.
Maybe.
No, So I mean, I just she's not a prostitute. She is a sex worker, but she's a sex worker of a certain type, and please treat her with a certain amount of respect.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Why don't wait a minute? Why don't you want to treat her with respect? Because she screws.
I think that what these types of sex workers do is demeaning to women. And,
I see. Yeah. Okay. All of a sudden, you're becoming Mr. I'm standing up for women's rights. Is that it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And how many porn films have you jerked off to?
Thousands.
Hey,
so don't tell me it's demeaning to women. Actually, it's not demeaning to women. Fortunately, in spite of the fact of what the work is, it makes a woman not dependent upon men. Okay, she has her own financial security, and she did it herself, and it's her money, and it's not to benefit some guy somewhere.
She had to sell herself to benefit.
No, she didn't sell herself. No.
I wonder how she does that.
You don't understand what being in porn is, Phil. You have no concept of it.
I can tell you this: I've never been in a porn movie.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta have more than 2 inches, otherwise they're not in.
And I have, and you'll never find out which one it is. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I've seen you interview on Midnight Blue.
Interview?
Interview. Yeah, you did. I saw the Sexorama. You made a copy of it on VHS for me.
Sexorama?
Yeah, it was the one with the girl that took like 100 guys.
No.
I think it was at Plato's Retreat.
It was something
Susan was in that one too.
Yeah, it was something. It wasn't. I wasn't in that. It wasn't a matter of her being in that. We were reporting a situation.
Right. You were in the movie.
No, we were covering a situation
film.
that was on Midnight Blue, which was a magazine program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were interviewing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is not a movie.
Well, it was the it was a.
It wasn't a movie, Phil.
Let's go back to Trump.
What's the difference if it's on videotape on Midnight Blue or if it's in a thing?
No, it's the nature of what was being done. We were covering a situation. Yeah. We weren't creating a situation.
I understand.
Okay,
but you were part of it.
No, I wasn't. I was shooting it, and we were interviewing people.
Yeah,
just like I'm interviewing you right now.
Well, you have your clothes on.
The condoms.
You want me to take my clothes off while I'm doing it? You'll all be disgusted.
Don't scare me.
Yeah.
You'll definitely get demonetized.
Yeah. Brian, what do you think of all of what we're saying tonight? You've been very quiet because the minute Phil comes on, you shut down.
Oh, yeah.
Who's that, Brian?
Yes.
Evan.
No, I just say that I don't. All this, just waiting for him to be in cuffs. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But
who, Phil?
Phil or Trump?
Trump.
I would like a picture of him, the mugshot. I mean,
well, they say at the New York they don't make those public, but because he's already a public figure, they may.
Yeah.
Someone's going to sneak it out. You know how much that's going to be worth if they don't.
Yeah.
And just think when he takes his first shower and the person who wraps his hair like a turban, that when that person's not in prison with them, how's he going to look?
Here's the question, and maybe I'm jumping ahead on this thing, but if he goes to jail or to prison, does his Secret Service have to go with him?
I hope not. Who wants to caught him in jail? I wonder if they get overtime.
You know, I think they would have to go with him and guard him in jail.
Well, then he'll have protection.
Yeah, but still, these
Never
guys.
happened, so we don't know.
Yeah,
right?
but if you're
You
a
lose it.
Secret Service person and you're on his detail, aren't you being incarcerated with him and you didn't do anything wrong?
Aren't you?
Unless they put him
Well,
in his
they,
own
they
cell.
they would go in and out, but aren't you ashamed that this country is now treating its past leaders like Pol Pot and other people treated theirs?
What past leader?
Wait a
Yeah,
minute.
what did he
Wait a
lead?
minute. Wait a minute. To begin
Where
with,
did he lead?
what was wrong with the way Pol Pot was handled?
Did he
was
kill him?
He was a
kill
murderer.
all his, past-
He was a cold-blooded murderer, Phil.
Right.
You never heard of the killing fields?
Yes, that's what I'm
That's Pol
referring to.
Pot.
That was him.
Right.
Somebody
And
should
what
have put
I'm
a bullet in
involved with
his
the
head
killing
a
fields?
long time before that.
And you look at Venezuela and these other countries. What happens to the past leaders of all of these countries? That's not what America is.
Well,
but it is.
in one case, Allende, who was the leader in where was it? Was it Venezuela? Am I thinking correctly with Pol Pot?
Chile?
Not Pol Pot.
Chile?
Yeah, right. Chile. Allende, he was killed by the CIA. What do you have to say about that, Phil?
I have which government was the CIA working for at the time? Was it a Democratic president or a was it Bush or was it Bush?
I think it was
Bush?
a Republican, if I'm not mistaken. And
Was
the
it Bush
fact was
Senior?
that Allende was a communist, but he was a democratic communist. Have you heard of such a thing? There is such
Never.
a thing. There is such a thing, absolutely. Because communism is an economic form, and democracy is the relationship of a government to its people. And you can have a communistic, and the reason why they went and got Allende is because it was starting to thrive down there. And America did not want the world to see a country in which a communistic democracy was working.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that it was working.
Well, no, it was working, and he was killed by the CIA and by CIA operatives. Yes, yes, Alan.
Alan, it's okay. So what I want to know, Phil's not listening right now. So
I'm
Are
asking
you-
this theory
you
what.
there?
president-
Oh, sorry. So if Trump,
Johnson.
if Obama was
Don't
doing
worry, he
such
won't
bad-
find Allende when he looks it up because he doesn't know how to spell it. Go ahead.
That's right.
Anyway,
If Obama was doing such a bad job, why did Trump give to his first and second campaign?
Why? He gave to everybody's campaign.
No, he gave to Biden's. I mean Obama's because he was a Democrat at that
He
time.
gave it to Hillary too.
Well,
but-
she was a Democrat too.
But he gave to everybody's campaign. Remember what they said: keep your friends, enemies close. Keep your friends close, but keep your enemies close.
yeah, well, I think probably quoting The Godfather is appropriate where Trump is concerned. Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
Well, what are we all looking up? Are we just doing
I
our
was
We're
homework?
trying to
hopefully
find
they-
out who the president was when.
Hopefully they don't shoot Trump in the street like they did with the
And
Godfather.
Siri told me Lyndon Johnson, but that's wrong.
Oh yeah, that couldn't be right.
Echo. Who
Red
was
Shark
president
is,
when Allende was killed?
Nixon.
President of the United
From
States.
History.com. Vice President Theodore Roosevelt was immediately sworn in as
No,
president.
not Theodore
Would you
Roosevelt.
like another answer?
No, no.
AI is
So
working.
much for AI. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but
Maybe ask it who was the
Johnson was-
president of the United States.
Yeah. Who was president of the United States at the time Allende was killed?
So Nixon.
Was it Nixon?
I believe so. Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
you're
think
right.
so. I think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Nixon was a Democrat, wasn't he? Phil?
Again, Phil
Yes.
drives us off the road because we spent the last 5 minutes trying to find the answer to that question because he was sure it had to be a Democrat.
Oh yeah. I'm just checking my pictures. Have they downloaded yet?
Downloaded what?
Looks
What
like
pictures? What pictures?
The 1,850 pictures I took.
Oh, jeez. Oh,
Of a koi
my
pond
God.
earlier today.
Do you think we care whether your pictures were downloaded or not?
Well,
I know, Kevin. You nodded your head. You're getting frustrated here, aren't you? He just
I'm
nodded. What?
I'm muted.
You're muted? Yeah. Yeah. Very frustrating to me.
So you can't hear me yell.
Yeah. Yeah. But
To save the day.
oh, look who's there. Look who's there.
Behave, Phil.
Come here. Say hello. You have to say hello, bro.
How you doing, kiddo?
How you doing?
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now that you've been on the show for a couple minutes, ask Daddy for $20.
$.
No.
Now, now I'm in trouble.
Uncle Alan's very rich.
Yeah, I'll give me your address. I'll send her $20.
You want $20 from Alan, Adrian?
I'll send you $20. You
Well,
buy toys.
be careful. You might wind up in front of a grand jury.
Who's getting indicted, Adrian?
Alan.
Who?
No.
Tell him.
Yeah,
Tell
she
him.
said Donald Trump.
She said Donald Trump.
She's
She's
listening
smart.
to CNN in the car, and she goes, "What's going on?"
I remember when I was growing up, my father just absolutely hated Nixon. Just hated him.
Funny, most of the country did too.
Well, you know, he did a lot of things previous to becoming president that were just absolutely abominable. There was an actress by the name of Helen Gahagan Douglas who ran for senator, and he inferred that she was a communist. You know, he did that kind of red baiting, and she lost the election as a result of it. And he hated her for that, just absolutely hated her for that. He felt that was so not decent, okay? And so I often thought that Nixon's first name was that damn, because anytime he would ever refer to him, he would refer to him as that damn Nixon. He taught me to hate Nixon at a very young age, and I grew up to continue to hate him. And the fact was that Nixon was a terrible, terrible person. His entire career had been just winning races by lying and by inferring that people were communists and so on and so forth. It was just disgusting, just disgusting. But you know something? He's not as bad, wasn't as bad a president as Trump.
Nobody was.
Well, you know, it's
Mussolini
kind of like
was
I
better.
said, you know, look at Trump. Now, Bush isn't looking so bad to you, is he? And by the
No.
way, neither is Daddy Bush. And as a matter of fact, neither is Ronald Reagan. Come to think of it, Adolf Hitler doesn't seem quite so bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Adolf Hitler mainly went after the Jews. Trump went after the Americans.
Trump was good for the Jews.
Was he?
You know, he kept his promises. He moved the embassy to Jerusalem.
You ought to watch Fox News a little bit more. Last
was
night I
for,
was watching it, and Trump was running his mouth about anti-Jew stuff.
He was.
What was he running
propaganda.
his mouth about?
He was saying that the Jews are a lot of the problems in this country, and they're funding, along with Soros, this DA in New York.
They are.
Well, there you go.
So
Soros
is this the guy?
allowed
Is
it.
this the guy who loves Jews, Phil? It doesn't sound like it.
Well, he loves Israel.
He's getting to sound more like Kanye.
He loves Israel. I mean, you know, he was for a one state.
And that absolute dictator they got there right now, that you
Right.
know,
Netanyahu.
Netanyahu.
Now, why? I understand he fired somebody. Why are they protesting?
He didn't
the guy?
fire anybody. You
Okay.
you follow the news so loosely.
Netanyahu.
What do you think that they're demonstrating over?
He resigned.
Oh, he resigned.
No, he didn't.
And why?
He didn't resign. He didn't
The
resign.
defense secretary there did.
Oh, the defense secretary.
That's what I'm saying. I thought he was
No, you
fired.
said they fired him.
No, but why do you think they're demonstrating against Netanyahu?
I guess they didn't like the idea that this defense secretary was forced to resign.
No.
Or was fired.
No. Let's let Phil wave in the wind since he doesn't know anything.
Well, I watched the protests.
Then what were they over? What were they over? Then you should have been able to know what they were about.
Yeah, what did the sign say?
They were Israeli flags.
Yeah, but they were carrying signs too.
I couldn't see
their Social Security, right?
Well, you might like this one, Phil, because I imagine Trump would do it if he had the chance.
Yeah,
he tried to abolish the Supreme Court.
Oh, he wanted to
Israel.
change the Supreme Court. That's right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now you know.
So do you
okay.
think
Yeah.
that-
Now you know. Now that I told you, you know.
Well, there was something else about that. There was a reason, but
It's
I
the
don't
same
remember.
reason that Trump has it. He doesn't want anybody to go against what he wants to do.
And you mean if Biden packed the courts, that would be okay with you?
If Biden packed the courts,
Yeah.
well, I guess it would be equal justice because Trump packed the courts.
Oh, so it's tit for tat. So it's not okay for Netanyahu to do it, but it's okay for Biden because it's because Trump legally made decisions.
Netanyahu wanted to get rid of it.
I don't think he wanted to get rid of the whole court. I think that there was something about
What he wanted
He
to
wanted
do.
to do was get rid of the whole court.
That's right.
And what he really wanted
Trump would want to do that if he had a chance to.
was that he wanted his office to be higher on the pecking order than the Supreme Court, so he could override any decision the Supreme Court might make.
Correct.
Yep, that's what happened.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't as familiar with why the riots were going on, but
You made it sound like you knew
I thought
about
it was
it.
over a firing.
No.
A guy wasn't even fired; he quit.
Well, usually when somebody quits,
Phil, would
it's
you
because
have
they were told
demonstrated?
quit or you're fired?
If you were in Israel, would you be demonstrating over that?
I don't know enough about it to make a
Obviously.
decision.
Oh,
about
now
it.
you don't know enough about it.
No, well, I couldn't even remember what the guy's position was that got fired or quit.
No, that's
Alex,
not
he's
the point.
getting
The point is
old
that there was
and
a control over the judiciary that they have. Would you have demonstrated that?
I don't know how their structure works.
Well, it doesn't matter if there was if the president per se would have control over the Supreme Court of their government. Would you demonstrate on that? In other
If
words,
it
not
works
have-
like our government,
would you demonstrate yes
where-
or no?
if it works there like our government does, where there's three equal arms, yes, I would demonstrate. But I don't know how the Israeli government works when it comes to the judiciary.
Well, it's pretty much similar.
Pretty much the same as ours.
There's the Knesset, there's the judiciary, and then there's the president. I don't think they call him the president over there, but the prime minister over there.
Right.
Yeah,
So
the supreme ruler.
what he wanted to do was to make his word the final word rather than the Supreme Court, so that he could just cancel anything the Supreme Court decided was right.
I wouldn't go for that, although they do need a strong leader there because of the enemies that are surrounding them.
No, you don't need a strong leader. You need a reasonable leader.
Right, which is what
And
Trump would just love
Netanyahu
to
is
do.
not reasonable.
Trump would love to do that here.
Trump would love to do that here. Exactly.
Correct.
He's already talked about it.
Right.
He's talked about he wants to reform the Supreme Court. He wants to reform the judicial system.
Well, he did by appointing conservative justices that were pro the Constitution, and rather than
Pro the
interpret
Constitution? I don't know that
Pro-Trump.
they're pro-Trump. They're not pro the Constitution.
I don't think that the
Because
three
how many times
justices-
didn't they rule against him a couple times?
Yes, the three justices he appointed all ruled against him on the voting thing, and
And he got a little bit upset, didn't he?
yeah, he did. But
And he wanted to boot him out, didn't he?
the thing is,
Okay.
he didn't pack the court. He put in really good justices that made decisions based on the law.
Oh yeah, some really morally wonderful people.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. Trump did wonderful things when he was in office.
Absolutely
God,
wonderful.
I wish he were back again. Oh, this is,
I know Tony does.
Well, Tony
Yeah, you
doesn't
don't
feel
know
that
Tony.
way.
Tony's
Tony
like,
doesn't
no, he
feel that
doesn't.
way about him now.
Tony felt that way about him this afternoon.
Oh, I didn't say anything that crazy. Phil.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I got it on tape, Tony.
Go ahead and play it.
What did you
Guns
say?
control.
What did you say to Phil earlier
We were
today?
talking about guns today, really. That's what I was talking to him about.
Yeah. And what'd you say?
I think, well, I was saying about guns. I don't think it's so much as the guns. I think it's bad parenting, and they're not handling these kids, I think. That's what I was saying, pretty much. Because we didn't have gun problems in the 80s when I was in school. Remember, I was telling you that.
No,
It's
the
like it's
mafia.
always been-
The mafia took care of the gun problems in the 80s.
Come
in
on,
New
Tony.
York.
A little more. Give it up.
No, but I was basically
Say what
saying,
you said.
You see, Phil yesterday refused to believe that there were 130 mass shootings since January
say
1st
that.
of this
I
year.
said there
Yes,
might
you
have been
did.
150.
Yes, you did. You said to me, "Oh, that you mean going back to when we started taking statistics on mass
No,
shootings?"
I said. I said I heard that they might have said that was since Columbine, but you asked me how many
Yeah, well, that's
years.
going back an awfully long. How long
Right,
ago
and
was
I said-
Columbine?
I said it was between 100 and 175.
But you thought it was going back to Columbine.
it started with
I
There's
had heard
130 mass shootings since the first of this year,
January.
January. 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many mass shootings did we have a year back 20, 30 years
We
ago?
never had any of this. With
We
one-
didn't have very many. Maybe it's because of the divisiveness.
Oh, and
that
maybe
was
it's
created by Obama.
maybe it's because of the amount of guns. See, you're putting Adrian to sleep.
We had more guns. We had just as many guns 20 years
I
ago.
love it. I love it when Phil's talking shoots like this.
Hey, we had more guns 20 years ago.
I think it's bad parenting.
There was a
I'm-
moratorium
I wouldn't,
on.
it's not just bad parenting. You can't blame it on just bad
Oh,
parenting.
We never had school shootings, though. Can anybody explain why you never had a school shooting then?
It's Trump's fault.
It's all the drugs that they put these kids on.
I mean, that's
It's
just.
the way they treat mental illness.
See, blame
I love
everything
what you
else
said.
but
How
the
do you
guns.
know? How do you know? What's your proof?
Yeah.
Blame
I got
everything
proof.
else but the
Written.
guns, Phil. Blame
Huh?
everything else but the guns and the easy availability of guns.
Well, it was ju- it
Like,
was
do you
more
know now
available-
down in Florida, you just can go in
you know-
and get a gun. You don't have to sign anything to get one.
Yeah, do you know that you could order it from the Sears catalog 20 years ago or 25 years ago? You can go in and buy a gun and have it mailed to your house. And, I mean, all you had to do is pick up the Sears catalog.
Well,
now all in Texas, all you gotta do is walk into the local store and pick the
That's
gun
not
and take
true.
it home with you.
Only if you have a permit to carry. If you don't have a permit to carry, then you have to answer the
They can walk right in and buy a gun.
Oh, wait a minute, Adrian.
Yeah, look at that. Look at
Phil's
Adrian.
gonna put those fake teeth in again.
This is boring, isn't it, Adrian? Well,
Only when Phil's on, right? Yep.
anyway, hey,
If
listen.
she earned that $20, I'll send it to you, Brian.
Yeah.
Hey,
I love
get
this
her
thing.
teeth like this.
Touch my teeth. He wants me to do a bridge spell. Right?
Hey, Adrian, men never make passes at girls who wear glasses.
Oh, it's the library.
Are those
look.
your glasses, Brian?
Those are for work. Yeah, those are for.
Those are for work.
Yeah, they don't fog up.
Anyway,
They're not the hot librarian look?
No.
thank you so much, Alan. We appreciate you tonight being here. Also to Kevin, and also to Brian, and also to Tony. And should we thank Phil?
Thank Trump.
Huh?
Thank Trump.
Thank Trump, yeah. Why don't all of you give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye at you, okay? There they go, folks. There's our There's our citizen panel
We're
for
going
tonight.
to make America great again. We're not going to vote Trump in.
Yeah, right, exactly. Anyway, that's it for tonight. I'm Alex Bennett. That's the Ramble. Jack is next. He's going to be here with his little get-together called The Intersection. He'll be taking your calls at Skype at Gabnet Live. I'll see you again tomorrow night. Same time, same station in life. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her. Good night, everybody.